All right, we have been working on our informational writing, and what we are going to do with that is we are going to write a book. And we are going to write a book about something that we know a lot about. So by now, you should have your topic, and you should have 3 facts that you are going to talk about in your book. And yesterday, I kind of showed you how to elaborate your facts, so how to write more with the facts that you gave me. And I wanted to talk to you for a second about what your writing needs to look like come when we finish all of our writing. So this is my elaboration rubric. And a rubric is just something that tells you what your assignment or what your activity should look like when it's done. So I have 4 stages right here. And as you can tell by the smiley face, if it's smiling, obviously that's good. If it's kind of smiling or straight face, that's not so good. And if it's frowning, that's really not good. So if you want to achieve really not so good writing, then you are only going to have 1 sentence on each of your pages for your book. And let me grab your book. So that you know what I'm talking about. So this book right here, this is what I'm talking about when I refer to your book. You should have gotten that in your materials, I think last week. Just make sure that you keep it in a safe place because we are going to be using it eventually once we get all of our details together. So right now you are working with your All About Me packet. It starts with a page just like this. And what you're doing is you are writing 3 facts and you are elaborating on them. And so in your book, if you have 1 sentence on each page, that's not so good writing. That's not very good, and you do not want to practice writing like that. If you have 2 sentences on each page, frogs have babies, they lay a lot of eggs. It's okay, but not really. You want to be better than okay, because you know that I know that all of you can write more than 2 sentences describing a fact. So what you need to do, you might have to do some research on your fact. You might have to look some things up. And as you notice, they also drew a picture of kind of what this is, but I have no idea what this is. I don't know what this picture is. I don't know what they're trying to describe. So then the okay writing, the good writing, you have a lot of sentences on each page, pictures to teach us the important words. So they labeled the picture that they drew. They labeled the fact that the outside was jelly and the inside was a tadpole. They put a fun fact right here. Tadpoles eat plants and algae. Also, they have more than 2 sentences. They have frogs have babies. They have a lot of eggs, or they lay a lot of eggs. They can have 4,000 eggs at a time. That is called a spawn. So they're teaching us more and more about why frogs lay eggs and how they lay eggs and what they're called and why they're called that. So it's explaining the topic to us because now we know that they lay eggs, we know how many eggs they lay, and we know what it's called. So then the next thing is awesome, excellent writing. So if you want the awesome, excellent writing, you need to have a lot of sentences on each page and pictures that teach us the important words, and it needs to talk to the reader. So as you notice, they drew the picture, they labeled their picture, they had a fun fact, and they wrote even more sentences. So frogs have babies, they have a lot of eggs, they can have 4,000 eggs at one time. That is called a spawn. Holy cow, that's a lot of babies, don't you think? So it's kind of interesting to the reader because at the end, I kind of liked how it said, that's a lot of babies, don't you think? It's interesting to the reader. So when you're reading your facts that you're writing about, make sure that you think, okay, if I read this and I didn't write it, would I be interested to know more about that topic? So be thinking about that as you continue to write and go into your writing today or from yesterday. And I want you to work on editing some things that Miss V talked about on your Seesaw post. Because this is what we want. This is what we're aiming for. What we want our writing to look like when we are all done.